Hello everyone, Justin Patton here. So we're in this crazy holiday season. We went through Thanksgiving, we're at Christmas, we're all buying gifts for each other, and if you're like me, we often buy gifts for ourselves. And I'm going to share with you what I believe is one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself and your relationship as you go into the new year in 2015. And that, to me, is really the gift of self-awareness, emotional awareness, and emotional expression. And how does that play a crazy effect in your relationships and your success and your happiness? So I believe that reason why emotional or this awareness and expression is so important because it's the basis for you to own your truth in your life. It is what allows you to create boundaries in your relationships and the people in your life, and to really ultimately be able to live a life of happiness. That way we're not avoiding the things that we need to address. We're not learning to shut off our emotions and just learn to live and walk around not really feeling anymore. And so I believe that your success and your happiness is really dependent on your ability to communicate your emotions effectively. So how do you do that? And let me tell you why so many people, I believe so many people don't. Ian Van Zandt says that so many people are just walking around and they're dead from the neck down. Is that they do all their crazy thinking from their head and their brain, but from here down, they're not really feeling. They're just walking around with bodies. And so many people that I coach, when we're talking about interaction with peers in your workplace or how you deal with your children or even in your personal romantic relationships, I hear the term, these people are emotionally unavailable or I'm emotionally unavailable. And oftentimes we've done that to cope. It's a coping mechanism that we've built up over the years. And then I'll hear, I just feel so many times we're speaking a different language. And you've probably heard that before. You're like, I don't understand where this person is even coming from. So I believe that trying to understand this emotional awareness and emotional expression is like learning a foreign language. I took Spanish for 4 years and I can still barely speak it. But the deal with learning a foreign language is you got to be intentional and you got to be willing to practice it and mess up and give it the effort that it needs to really learn it. Well, understanding our emotions and understanding how to express them effectively is no different. It's just like learning a foreign language. So could you be willing to maybe explore that as one of maybe your New Year's resolutions as you go into 2015. I believe that kind of this whole game with emotions and trying to understand our partner's emotions like a game of whack-a-mole, right? Sometimes we get in these arguments or we get in conversations and we don't really know what we're feeling, so we just throw out stuff, or you're trying to understand what your partner's trying to say, and so it's like you're hitting this game of whack-a-mole and things keep popping up. So is there a way to do it more effectively? And I believe there is. So I want to share with you what I believe that you can do differently as you go forward on how to express your emotions and express it and get really clear about what you are feeling. Because I believe many times we're not really clear ourselves. And when we're not clear, we can't communicate effectively. So first things first, you're going to see this crazy little emotional feelings wheel that I created. There are tons online that I'm going to recommend at the end of the video that you download. But I just gave a quick snapshot of one that I sometimes use. And this is a variation off of it. But what I would say is as you start to experience a feeling or emotion, or you're talking to your partner or your kids or someone in the workplace and you're a manager and you're talking to direct reports, is talk about how the action or the behavior or whatever that is made you feel. So say, I feel, then whatever that is. And here's what that's the start. So most people will say this: I feel angry, or I feel, it made me feel sad. Right? Or that's not even sad, that's fear. So made me feel scared or made me feel happy. And this is a good start, but here's the problem that I believe. I believe so many times when we express our feelings, all of this is, to me, is surface level emotions. So we start talking to people with these surface level emotions that I feel angry, and then we try to express it. But oftentimes, if that's where we stop, we never get to the root of really the issue. We often leave the conversation not feeling heard, not feeling understood, and nothing really gets resolved. And so if you're not even doing the surface level part, inside the circle, I'm going to invite you to start there. Can you at least say, I'm feeling angry, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling happy, or I feel disgusted, whatever that is to you. But as you start to do that more and more, I believe if you really want to become a good communicator in your relationships as a manager, any part of your life, is to start peeling back the layers. And this is what I mean by that. Underneath the layer of anger are all these other crazy emotions that we're really experiencing. And that's really where we get to the heart of trying to resolve some stuff in our relationships and really creating connections with people. And so I'm going to give you two examples. One would be for me, and this is very personal, is when I was in a point in my life where I was invested in a relationship and I was getting ready to move. And I quit my job. I was selling my house and selling stuff out of my house. And then towards the end, the relationship fell apart. And that's not to blame either person. It just is what it is. But I remember sitting in my house saying, what is it that I'm feeling? And I started out by saying, I feel sad. And as I started to explore it, peeling back the layer of sadness, I said, why do I feel sad? And that's really where you're going to get to the heart of it. And what it came down to is when I felt sad, what I realized is I haven't allowed myself to be very vulnerable most of my life. It's how I learned to cope after my dad died. And for me, my job was everything. I learned to validate myself through my job. So for the first time in my life, I decided to say, you know what? This relationship means enough to me that I'm willing to give up and be vulnerable than I probably have ever been in my life. And for me, when I was the most vulnerable I've ever been, I felt that you turned your back and you walked out on me. I felt betrayed and I felt rejected. That's why I felt sad. That is a completely different conversation about feeling betrayed and rejected than just saying I feel sad. And now we can have a deeper conversation about it. We can do something with that information. The other person doesn't have to accept or even acknowledge it. Even I hope they would acknowledge it. They don't have to accept or agree with it. But to me, it's to own my truth and own what I'm really feeling and be able to do something with that information. Final example I'll just say is about the deal with Ferguson. We see all the things, all these people angry at police, and so I believe if we talk to people, they will say, I feel angry. But underneath the layer of anger, what is it, right? I believe that so many people feel angry because they feel disrespected. They feel disregarded. They feel like they've been made to feel inferior because of actions of some people. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with it. But when you can own your truth and be honest about what you're really feeling and get past these surface level emotions, you get to have much richer conversations with your children, with the people that you work with in your office, and with your partner in your romantic relationships. So, here's what I hope you'll do as you get into 2015. I hope this just gives you something to think about. Two things. If you're not even dealing with surface level emotions, start there. Say, I feel whatever that is. And as you start to have conversations, start asking yourself, can you peel back that layer of anger and say, underneath the anger is all this other stuff? And what is it in the core that I'm really feeling? Because I believe that when you can pull back the layers and peel back the layers of what you're really feeling, you can create better boundaries in your life. You can become more self-aware about what you're really feeling and communicate more effectively with the people that really mean something to you. And you set yourself up to live a happier life because you get to own your truth. And knowing that I don't have to have people accept it, they don't have to agree with it, but I need to do that for myself. And so I hope that gives you something to think about. And what I hope you'll do, there are tons of feeling wheels or emotional vocabulary wheels. And as I've worked with coaching clients, they've often downloaded some of these and find a version that works for them. This is a very, this model actually goes one more layer out. And so some are easy and some are very complicated and simple. Find one that works for you with wherever you are in your journey. I believe that the more aware and the more you can express your emotions effectively, the healthier relationships you'll have in your life. So I hope it gives you something to think about. So, no one tells you today they believe in you. Please know that I believe in you. This is how we do our work. This is how I believe this is the basis and the foundation for us to communicate more effectively. So I hope that you'll take it to heart. I hope it gives you something to think about. If you like it, like it on Facebook, share it with your friends, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Hopefully I'll get a couple more videos in this week, but if I don't get to talk to you, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and get ready for a great new year. I'll be thinking about you and I believe in you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.